They look like chunks of red velvet cake with like white frosting holding them together. So 2 weeks ago, I ran a poll over on my community page and Skin Deep lost the poll by a single vote. And because I'm nice and I like to keep the horde happy, I decided, you know what? We'll do Skin Deep as well. But if you don't know anything about Skin Deep from 2004, let me quickly fill you in. Skin Deep from 2004 is a horror comedy. When a family's car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, they take refuge at an isolated diner run by a seemingly sweet old lady. Little do they know that she is part of a monstrous clan led by the disfigured killer, the Surgeon General. With all her family brutally butchered and a gang of vicious bikers laying siege to the diner, the young daughter must stay alive while waiting for each side to wipe each other out. If you're new here, I'm Hannah, but I go by Hordes online, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies that I have never seen before, I am now going to go and watch Skin Deep off camera, so that way if you too want to watch this insane looking, slightly gross out horror comedy, nothing will be spoiled for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, because then you're going to know exactly what happens. And I keep it spoiler free here on my channel, because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers.
And squish and squish and squish.
It's not, but this movie feels an awful lot like a Full Moon production. It's got a very 80s and 90s feel to it, which is not a bad thing if you know me, but I was fully expecting the name Charles Band to pop up at some point, and he has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Gas.
Plot-wise, it has clearly been inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but instead of a family of cannibals, it's a family of lunatics who are part metal, part mutation. There's a lot going on with this family. The Sawyers look normal compared to this family. And that's just the starting point for this. You start off with a family who are going on a road trip. Their tire accidentally gets punctured, and it means that they have to stop off at a rather isolated diner in the middle of nowhere where they meet Grandma. From that point, Grandma says, oh, there's no mechanics anywhere in the vicinity, but my grandson happens to know a thing about cars. See you in 5 minutes at my house over the road. The family then turn up at Grandma's house, and after being served dinner on cardboard, things get wild when the Surgeon General suddenly kicks into action, and all I can say is all hell suddenly breaks loose from this point on. The Surgeon General just rips off his face and reveals that he has a mouth that looks like a bear trap. I kid you not. Plates, who is played by Warwick Davis, just starts lobbing china everywhere. It's wild. There is one line though that I have to mention because it cracked me up something chronic when I heard it. The youngest daughter in the family is taken hostage because Brains, who is, I believe, the oldest son, says, can I keep her? And Grandma's like, she's your responsibility, like she's a pet. And she's being held captive in a room that is lined with newspaper, and Brain turns up and is like, I bought you soup and money. Like, what hostage is not going to be happy with that?
Hell no!
You really, though, need to like insane horror comedies to enjoy the plot of Skin Deep. If you know me, you'll already know that insane horror comedies, along with death games, are like my niche. If you want the recommendations for them, I'm the person to go to. But even I had problems trying to keep up with everything that was going on in this plot. There is a lot of filler. And there are a lot of kills in this which you could quite easily have cut them out because they're just there to boost numbers. And all of this kind of overshadows at times the plot that is going on with Brains and Tina, who is the daughter, which really should be like the main focus, but so much is going on.
I'm so confused!
The practical effects, though, really are the shining star of this movie. When you find out what is going on with Brain and why he's called Brain, that reveal is hilarious. I love the practical effects makeup that they have done for Brain. Without going into spoilers, it's a bit like if you've seen Pinky and the Brain, what Brain's head looks like, but on actual steroids. It is wild. The amount of like splattery, gory kills in this, like I said, there's a few too many of them that distract from the plot, but they are really gory and really kind of violent, which again, I'm not going to be mad at. To give an example, at one point, somebody gets cut in half in a single blow from the top of their head to their crotch, and they just split apart in two perfect halves. And it's like sticky and gooey and gory, and I'm always going to be here for that kind of practical. It's a little bit overkill. It's not like Terrifier levels of overkill, but it's that little bit kind of like unrealistic, bordering on cartoony that I kind of really like in horror.
Try to take over the world.
There are a few bordering on gross out effects going on in this at times, and as somebody who is a fan of Peter Jackson and the Garbage Pail Kids, that is absolutely the kind of levels of gross out that this is heading towards. It is like green slime, hence why I wore this sweater today. There's a lot of green slime going on, and I kind of like, it reminds me a little bit as well of the 1993 Australian body horror movie Body Melt. If you've ever seen that, they're kind of bordering on that kind of effect. I have to mention though, because this movie made me really hungry at one point, there is a window that has been bricked up, and those bricks do not look like bricks. They look like chunks of red velvet cake with like white frosting holding them together. They aren't bricks. They're not. That is cake. That is 100% cake. And if I can find a picture, I will include it.
Delicious.
It is, however, far too long. It is far too long as a movie. This is bordering on an hour and 40 minutes. I think it's an hour and 39 minutes in total. And you could easily make this an hour and 20, 25 at a push, make things ever so, like, zip them along, make them a bit quicker. I don't need all of the filler stuff in the middle of it. Like, keep some of the kills, the things that involve the biker gang, but I don't need all of the other random ass kills when people turn up at the diner or they get hunted down by the family. I just feel like it slows down the actual plot and it takes away from the plot, because this family is wild, and what is going on in their house, as you find out towards the end, is also really wild. And I just wish that we had got to that bit much sooner than we actually did.
Quick.
In the end, I am actually going to give Skin Deep from 2004 a 3 out of 5 stars, because this is fun. It's a fun movie. Am I gonna watch it again? Probably not. It's got a good mix of like gory and gross out kills in it. Its plot is literally the Texas Chainsaw Massacre if Charles Band had done it with the Full Moon production crew. It's that level of insanity. If you don't like Full Moon Productions, like Head of the Family, or just anything by Full Moon from the 90s, this one is probably not gonna be for you. Just being honest about that. It's not got the biggest budget, but it does really well with what it's actually done. Its effects, like I said, are the best thing in the entire movie, and Brain's headpiece prosthetic, like, just deserves a moment because it's hilarious. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, which begs the question, should you personally watch Skin Deep from 2004? If you like your horror movies flavoured with Texas Chainsaw inspired knockoffs, Full Moon production that isn't Full Moon production, gross out over the top splatter comedy, a family of mutants that make the Sawyer family look normal, or anything that is listed here, then you will probably like Skin Deep from 2004. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Skin Deep from 2004. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are down in the coffin section down below. We'll keep the in-joke going at this point. Pull up yourself a lovely padded little wooden box and we'll have a chat down there in the coffin section. If you would like to know where you can find this movie, as always, there'll be a link to justwatch.com in the description bar so you can find out where it is streaming in your country. Or if I can find a link somewhere to it directly, I will try and include that as well, because I think it might also be on Internet Archives if you can't find it. If you'd like to know where you can find me, I'm also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at HordesOfHorror, where I post every single horror movie that I watch, and not just the ones that I talk about here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Friday, and this time We're doing a little bit of a fun video again. I've been enjoying doing some more like goofy fun videos here on my channel the past like couple of months. You know, it feels right, so we're continuing it. I want to know how many of us have watched a horror movie and thought, you know what, I fancy my chances in this one, I could survive this movie. So what I've done is I've compiled a list of 25 different horror movies, and I'm going to tell you whether I think I could survive in those worlds or not. So until next time, bye. A special thank you though to my regenerators here within the Horde for their support over on Patreon.